Thanks. Hi. Long-time listener, first-time caller, so go easy. I didn't realise I had to wear a jacket, but so anyway, we'll go from here. So.
Don't comment on what you're wearing.
Okay, all right, yeah. I feel like I'm going red already. I'm British. Brexit's happening at the moment, apparently. I'm going to tell you why I don't give a fuck. Coming up, I'm going to talk to you about the angle of my talk, why I think why I'm the right person to talk to you about Brexit. My references, because every good talk needs to have good references, as Luke has just talked to us about. What the audience really needs to take to heart, what you should let pass without really flinching. Because there are slides in here that I was a little drunk when I was writing them last night. Yeah, I'll take you through the reasons why I don't give a fuck. You know, the first one, the doubt. The second one, the Nazis. The third one being the fucks. And then I'll talk to you about a moment where I really honestly thought I might have actually started giving a fuck, and then I realised I didn't. And then we'll move on to the conclusion. So it won't take too long, but here we go. So, I should have thrown that up on the screen. There we go.
It's all right. We were with you.
You were with me? Okay, good. All right, great. So, first, the angle. Basically, don't listen to anything I say. This is light-hearted nonsense and literally nothing more. I've been to Europe a couple of times, and I didn't mind it. My lack of knowledge politically is far-reaching and all-encompassing, and I haven't lived in the UK for years, so I'm going to talk to you about Brexit.
You're an expert, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. My references. References.
What is that photo? Is that a stock photo?
Stock. I just thought it was really. I thought it was friendly. I'm pretty sure these guys should really be in the cobalt mine. He's smiling as he.
That's not their father. They look terrified.
No, you're right, actually.
That's
yeah,
Theresa May without makeup.
So I studied engineering at university, so I have absolutely no fucking idea what a reference is. I think Harvard did something with it once. That's about all I got. So, like any prospective employee that hasn't got any fucking references, I'll just say they're available on request. All right. What to take to heart? So here's a pie chart of all the things you should take to heart. All right. Yep. Yeah, it's a joke. Made funnier because I had to tell you it was a joke. Okay, anyway, so why I don't give a fuck about Brexit, reason number one, the doubt. So this is probably the only semi-serious one, actually. So potential. The reference is the internet, 2019. So I Googled what Brexit was, which is obviously a very reputable source of information. Now, Brexit is the potential withdrawal of the UK from Europe. Not definite. Other things that could potentially occur that should be dealt with on the same scale as Brexit, therefore, and to be expected just as much as Brexit. I do something at the time that I actually said I'd do it originally, which, if you ask Luke or Lisa or people who know me well, is never going to fucking happen. Global warming actually turns out to not really be a thing. Despite what Luke said, I still heartfully believe that. And David Attenborough has a rampant bestiality addiction. They all have the potential to occur, so they are all exactly the same as Brexit.
To be fair, they're all real.
What I'm trying to say is that it will probably never happen. That's reason number one why I don't give a fuck about Brexit. Reason number two, the Nazis. Bear with me. So, at the top of the page there, there is a very informative graph.
It's backwards.
No, I'll show you it's not if you look closely. about Brexit progression and how it's progressed since 2012 or 13, one of the two. So the EU referendum bill was drafted in May 2013. David Cameron actually started talking about it first in 2012 at the NATO summit, May 2012. So what we're saying is it's taken 7 years to get to the point where we're at now, which is a potential exit from Europe. Not definite, potential.
I'm bad with graphs.
Yeah.
It's giving me a headache. What are the colours? And like the dates?
Why did we go from 1998 to
I
Guys.
understand what's happening.
The cobalt coloured one is the red.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, obviously. I feel like I need to go back a few slides where I said number one was don't listen to anything I say. This is light-hearted nonsense and nothing more. All right, sorry. Anyway, back to where we were. Yes. All right. So, 7 years ago they started talking about Brexit. Now we're at a potential, maybe at some point, who knows, maybe leave. Anyway, on to more important things.
Part of your PhD. How do you do the statistical part of your PhD?
It's okay.
I'm like 6 years in, Jenny. Like, it's never going to happen. I'm going to make the numbers up.
There's a whole talk later about that.
Sorry, yeah.
It's true.
Wait,
So-
there's always swastikas in Fuck It Writers Festival, which I'm really glad that you brought that today.
No worries. Look, I'm not pro-Nazi. Before I go on, before we go on to the next slide, I'm not pro-Nazi. I also like normal people. But what I'm trying to say is, in 7 years, the Brexit has got to the point where we might potentially leave the EU. In the same amount of time, so in 1933, Hitler announced the Nazi foreign policy. 7 years later, right, he had set up the secret police, set up the air force, expanded the army, banned trade unions and set up new alliances with Japan, Italy and Russia, conquered the Rhineland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Denmark, Norway, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg and France, and was in the middle of trying, although he never did it, to invade Britain. Oh, and he also hosted the Olympics.
Ben, I'm pretty glad you prefaced that with, I'm not pro-Nazi.
Yeah, but at least they got shit done.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not pro-Nazi, but they were efficient.
In so many ways.
In 7 years, we have absolutely no fucking idea when it's going to happen, what it will be when it happens. We have no idea what the impact of the what, which we have no idea about, will have on the off chance it actually does happen, and we have no idea who's going to do it either. It will probably never happen. Just to put it more into perspective, so 7 years is a long time. So this is the other things that were happening 7 years ago. The iPhone 4 was on sale. Avengers 1 was in the cinemas.
Good times.
Australia was yet to chew through all of these PMs. And we were all still laughing at this guy. Reason number 3 why I don't give a fuck about Brexit is the fucks, actually. So, here's the world. It's really fucking big, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Big fan of that. We live down here. London's not even visible, so who gives a fuck? But the other thing is, so terrible things happen every day that are also out of sight, out of mind, and I feel like we should really have the same attention to Brexit as we do these other things that I'm going to highlight to you. So in February this year, there were 202 terrorist attacks worldwide. Did anybody do anything about those terrorist attacks in this room? Just out of interest.
I might have posted something on Facebook.
Did you really?
Are you asking if we were participants?
No, not well, I feel like this isn't really the forum, but...
I don't think so. I joined the French Foreign League.
Okay, good.
I joined ISIS.
Good. I feel like those counter each other out.
Yeah.
Just sweet
We're big fans of balance.
Okay, so there were 202 terrorist attacks.
Patronising question.
I don't think any of us in here did anything about those terrorist attacks. We might have heard about it, gone, oh, that's sad, and then...
And look around the room.
Exactly.
Look at the colour of everyone's face.
And then taken another sip of Prosecco. So the polar ice caps are melting. Anybody done anything about the polar ice caps? Anyone been to the polar ice caps? I know you did.
I have frozen so much water this year.
Okay, good. So we're all freezing water.
And so Luke
Great.
made 2 speeches in this room to the same people.
So it doesn't really sound like we did much about that. 8 million tons of plastic entered the ocean each year. That was in 2010. It's probably more than that now. Luke will probably tell you it's exponentially large. Yeah, again, I don't think we really did anything. What I'm trying to say is that none of us care. We don't fucking care. Okay, anyway. So, on to the fucks. Google told me Right, so, guys, this is serious, all right? This is serious. So Google told me that the average sex session length is 19 minutes, including 10 minutes of foreplay, right? But it didn't really work for this talk, so for the sake of this talk, we'll go with the little red one down at the bottom, which is 5.4 minutes long, which I think is actually pretty good. But anyway, there's a good graph there about exponential, Lies. Right? So, what I'm trying to say is, how many fucks do I really need to give? So what I did, I sat at home and I did a bit of trigonometry. So it turns out that I'm going to have to look closer at this. So if we look at the globe, the grid system and latitude, longitude. So Sydney is on 151 degrees east and 33 degrees south. London is on Greenwich Mean Time, so it's 0 degrees west, 51 degrees north. Trigonometry-wise, so that means that there are 175.54 degrees between London and Sydney. You all look fucking lost. It's hilarious.
Jenny,
All right.
Is this England?
Bear with me, right? So there are 60 minutes in each degree. So there are 10,412.56 minutes between London and Sydney. 5.4 minutes in a fuck. So there are 1,928 fucks between Sydney and London. That's right.
It's a 24-hour flight. That's amazing.
Yeah. Fucks are now a unit of measurement.
London patch?
Okay, where's that Greece?
There's going to be a few
Let's say
There's
couple
even less
hours.
fucks
Yeah.
than Greece.
We'll come back to the 1,928 fucks in a second. So we'll move on to the moment that I thought I might have accidentally started giving it a fuck, but then I realised I didn't. So this is actually me on UK News.
Famous.
Yeah. I'm hiding in the back somewhere behind my mate in a glittery hat. I was on. I went. Nothing changes. Yeah. I went on an anti-Brexit protest march. I gave one singular fuck for one day.
So you were there for
Yeah.
5.4 minutes.
5.4 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how long will it take me to accrue enough fucks to give a fuck about Brexit? Here's a graph of my fucks over time. So at the time I gave no fucks, sometime later I gave one fuck, and since then I've given no fucks. So on the 20th of July 2016 I gave one fuck. There's been 1,011 days since then, so 1,011 days equals one fuck. It's sad. It's not representative of something else, just bear with me. So 1,928 fucks are required. That means there's 1,949,208 days to fill up my fuck basket. Which equates to 5,340.3 years from now. I'll give a fuck about Brexit. That's assuming I start to give a fuck tomorrow, which I probably won't.
Your poor girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. The conclusion, you all look lost at it, it's fantastic. The conclusion. We have... when I say we, I mean the British public, we have no idea when, where, how, or by who it will or might maybe happen. And even if it does happen at the current rate of progress against Nazi time, which is, by the way, a standard unit measurement, it won't happen for at least still 72 years. And in 5,340.3 years, when I give a fact, no one else will give a fact, not even me. I don't give a fuck about Brexit, I assure you. Yeah.
We can go back to that graph.
No.
I'm fascinated by May 1998
Yes.
being in the middle.
Can we space out the engineers next time?
Like,
Yeah.
we're sitting there just overwhelmed by numbers and statistics.
No questions, no? No.
It was
Well, you used maths.
completely. There was no other
So
details.
you just don't give a fuck about Brexit.
I don't give a fuck about Brexit, no. Couldn't
How
care
long
less.
have you lived in Australia for?
4 years. How do I
And
spend
how
my-
old are you?
31.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just ask them.
Do you have any tattoos on your chest?
Great question.
In about 5.4 minutes, I'll show you.
Has your dad got his Italian citizenship?
No, it's in the mail. Yeah.
When the
Yeah,
Italian
just like
toast.
everyone else.
Yeah, he's not getting that, is he?
How many
No.
fucks is it going to take for it to get to him?